All right. Hi, everybody. All right. Good Sunday. Good Sunday. It's been a lot going on in the news, in the world. Common people, celebrities, all kinds of stuff has been going on. But here at Sistas Talk, we try to focus on business, the latest news, and there has been a lot of news. Make sure you feel free to comment to anything that we're discussing today. We have a lot of different topics that we're going to cover. I see you, girl. There you go. All right. We did it. Vicky. Okay. I hear some beeping. That's your computer, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to get it. I wish you would shut up. I'm trying to get it to shut up. Am I doing it right?
I can't see you. I know it's dark in here, but that's because I only have one central light on, but I can't see you.
Let me see.
Maybe if you turn us sideways, we'll see you better. Yeah, there you are. Now we can see you. Okay, perfect. So I was just telling them that we have a lot that we wanted to discuss today. We were going to start with the Chinese scientist who states that she has information on coronavirus that only her and a few people knew, and that she had to leave China in order to tell the world the truth, which is pretty crazy. So I was in the process of sharing my screen. I'm going to go back to that mode and show guys this article that I came across today, which I thought was just crazy. Can you see that, Nikki?
Mm-mm.
You can't see the share screen?
Mm-mm.
Okay, hold on. Hey, Gerard. It's because I didn't click it yet. All right, so now I'm going to go back and let me know if you can see
it. Yeah, now I'm seeing.
Can you see it now?
I see it barely. I do see. Okay, now we're getting it better. It looks better.
Okay.
Chinese scientist. Yeah.
Okay, who fled to U.S. vows to spill secrets of coronavirus cover-up. Now, she's a virologist, and her name is Li Ming Yan, and she's based in Hong Kong. And what she was saying in this article was that she could not tell people in China the truth. If she did, she said she would end up disappeared or hurt. And so here we go. I'm going to read this first line. She says, virologist Li Ming Yan, who is based in the Hong Kong School of Public Health, is speaking out about Beijing cover-up over the outbreak as she hides in the U.S. So she's hiding here right now. The Chinese government has been accused of trying to silence anyone who had earlier tried to raise the alarm before the killer bug became a pandemic earlier this year, which has killed 576,432 people globally as of Monday. Dr. Yan wants to expose the Chinese government, saying that they knew about the novel coronavirus before publicly acknowledging the outbreak. Speaking to journalist Bill Hemmer, so he's the guy who interviewed Dr. Yan. This is an image of Dr. Yan. She looks really young. She looks really young. It's just really sad that she had to leave her country just to tell everybody else the truth, right?
Yeah, yeah.
These are her words, Dr. Yan's words. She says, "This is a huge pandemic we have ever seen in the world. It is more than anything we've known in human history. So the timing is very, very important. If we can't stop it early, we can save." She said, "If we can stop it early, we can save lives." She said she feared for her life if she spoke out while she was in China, so she fled to the U.S., where she's currently hiding in a secret location. Well, dang, Fox News, y'all told everybody where she is.
I'm telling you.
Y'all shouldn't even have said. I don't understand that. I never get when they do that. She said, "The reason I came to the U.S. is because I delivered the message of the truth of COVID." So she's like our messenger.
Yeah.
That's crazy. She says, "If I tell it in Hong Kong, she says that I start to feel it will be I will be disappeared or killed." So basically she's saying she's afraid that somebody will harm her if she were to release that type of information in her country. And this is an image of her and her, co-workers, other scientists that were also studying this coronavirus. And as we know, the coronavirus has been around, right? This is just another mutation of it for people who don't know exactly what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So she says that she turned to one of her friends to get more information. She says she spoke to a number of contacts, including the China's Center of Disease Control and Prevention, and told them about the unknown virus. So she did try to get ahead of this pandemic. She said she also told them that she had identified members of the same family who had caught the virus, which indicated there was a human-in-human transmission. Because you remember earlier this year, people weren't certain if the virus could leak from animals to human. But then as soon as she realized that you could catch it human-to-human contact, she notified the CDC, China's CDC. And so she says Dr. Yan, also told that the number of cases was thought to be rising exponentially, which means that's a huge increase in a short amount of time for people who don't know what that means. But when she took her findings to her bosses, she was told to keep silent and be careful. So they knew, everybody that was working with her in the lab, notice what I said, the lab, they knew. And all of these are alleged findings. Of course, this is coming from Mirror, the source, as you can see here. We're just echoing what's in the article. Now, she says that someone warned her. I'm assuming it's one of the coworkers, or maybe this man here in this picture, Dr. What's his name? Wen Lang. So seems like he says, he warned me, don't touch the red line. She said he will get in trouble and will be disappeared. So that's their way of saying that we'll be killed if we say something about this. So Dr. Yan says that she believes that crucial information could have saved lives, while the Chinese government refused to let overseas experts, including those from Hong Kong, conduct research in Wuhan. So they were extremely limited in what they could do. They wanted to help, but Wuhan would not allow other scientists into their country to help them. She says, I've had to hide because I know how they treat whistleblowers. And as a whistleblower, here, I want to tell the truth of COVID-19 and the origin of SARS-2 COVID virus, she warned. Oh, you remember him, right?
There was, I mean, if you ask me, I found it from day one very suspicious that I don't know if you recall that the very doctor who first, was diagnosing individuals with COVID, how he mysteriously died of COVID. You remember that?
That's what we're looking at right now, Nikki.
Yeah, right now. I thought that was him. And that's what happened. He died, and that's
why. Okay, so he is, if you go back up to it, he is the one who warned this lady that's here in the U.S. right now.
Yeah. And he was also the one who originally started diagnosing people and actually announcing, hey, these people have COVID. And before we knew it, like a week or two later, after this came out and he was the doctor, mysteriously, he ends up dying from COVID.
Well, it's not a mystery anymore, because in this paragraph here, it explains the whistleblower was warned that if he refused to repent, he would be punished. Not long before he was killed by coronavirus. Dr. Yan said, this is the female that's calling herself a whistleblower. She says that I know how they treat whistleblowers. They want to keep people silent if they want to reveal the truth, not only about COVID-19, but also for the other things happening in China. I am waiting to tell all the things I know, provide all the evidence to the U.S. government, she added. And I want them to understand, and I also want the U.S. people to understand how terrible this is. It is not what you have seen. This is something very, very, well, she just said very different. But we kind of already knew that based on what we have seen so far. Yeah. So, I mean, we kind of already knew that. I mean, how many people that are watching us right now feel like this was developed in a lab? I've always hinted to that, right? I've always I've heard people say, oh, it was contracted here or there, or it's been around. Yeah, it's been around, but the mutation of it, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? And that's the unfortunate thing. There's only so much that we probably will ever know because of the way that certain government officials, not just in China, but even here in the U.S., have tried to cover a lot up. So who knows how much we really still don't know, or we don't know. It's just plain and simple. We don't know.
But I think Dr. Yen does know. And that's the reason why Mirror has an article on her. So I'm glad and thankful for people like her that's not afraid to stand up against her entire government. I mean, yeah, she had to leave, but at least she's saying something and not leaving everybody in the dark. I know plenty of people know the truth. It's all about having that courage to just stand up and fight for what's right. So, I mean, speaking of that, this is a nice spinoff into a topic that we didn't list in our summary today. But I wanted to touch on Nick Cannon. Did you see what happened with him?
Well, yes, but before we get into Nick Cannon, if you don't mind, I thought it was actually a good spinoff to get into, if we want just to recognize the fact that, you know, we had two great civil rights leaders passed away on us over the weekend. And one of them in particular, you know, that was something that he always lived on, Mr. John Lewis. That was definitely something that he lived on, was the fact that, you know, if you're going to get in a good fight, get in trouble, but get in some good trouble. That's what his get in good trouble, necessary trouble. That was his exact quote.
Yeah.
And so pretty much that's where these two, you know, individuals were, you know, that's where they are in this fight with COVID. They're getting in good trouble. And then Huh?
I said, so is Nick Cannon.
Oh, yeah. And the other one other civil rights leader that I do want to say that did pass away that I do not see a whole lot of people recognizing is Reverend C.T. Vivian. He was also a civil rights leader and a minister who did pass away as well on the same day, on the 17th.
That was so crazy and ironic.
Yeah, but they both passed away. Great leaders that did help in the fight in civil rights. So we definitely want to recognize their unfortunate passings.
They made it. They lived a long, nice life, though.
They did. Yes. Reverend Vivian, he actually was 95. And he was actually coincidentally getting ready to have another birthday at the end of this month. And then Mr. Congressman John Lewis actually had just made 80. He had just celebrated 80. Some members of Congress threw him a surprise birthday party earlier this year, celebrating his 80th birthday. So they did both get to live some exciting lives. They did get to see the country progress. But they also knew more than any of us how far we still have to go.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That brings us right back to where you were at on Nick Cannon. I mean, it's so unfortunate. Once again, that's a reminder of how far we still have to go. And it's really unfortunate what happened with him. It's so many ways to look at this situation with him.
I agree.
It's so many ways to look at it, because in one aspect of the whole situation, just seeing it how it is, if he was of another culture and he made those comments, we would have expected for him to lose his job. We would have hoped for him to get all his stuff taken away from him if he was of another culture.
You mean if he flipped the narrative? Is that what you mean? Like if he would have said that Black people are savages, and if he would have said that white people are the original Hebrews, then yeah, it would have been seen as something very detrimental. And the reason why it would have been is because Black people we've already been casted down. We've already talked about slavery every single day. They still teach it in public schools. So you got to think about it from that perspective. Children are taught the most heinous acts that were done against Black people here in this country. So I think it's all about context and perception. So if you're a person who can't understand that what the fight that Black people have already had to endure in this country, then you will never understand why Nick Cannon said what he said. However, I do stand by him because what he said were absolute facts. There's no lie detected. And irregardless to how sensitive other people may be to the truth, it's still the truth. Now, being the fact that he owns so many different platforms and so many different businesses, maybe he should have thought about how to pad his wording. But I am a believer in truth, and I don't believe in backing down on that. So I think that, no, he wasn't wrong in what he said. Maybe he should have thought about how he was going to say it. That's my take.
Yeah, because some of the things that some of the comments that he said, he could have said exactly what he said, but some of the things maybe he should have chose his wording a little differently. Some of the things he could have possibly just omitted altogether, because unfortunately, because unfortunately, he had put it, unfortunately he was on a very huge platform. And, it's really unfortunate, but I do believe that he will rise from this.
Oh, for sure.
He will still rise from this. I just really hate to see, unfortunately, so many of people of our community, though, who are not standing with him, who are beating him up as though he was of a different culture and he was not Black at all. I mean, that's
I want to know if there's people that's watching this show right now, please feel free to comment. We can see your comments. We'll read them out. We'll engage, because we want to know, what do you think about this Nick Cannon situation? Do you think he was too harsh? Do you think what he said was a lie? I mean, just let us know. You don't have to be for what he said. You can be someone that stands absolutely against what he said and what he did, and you have every right to. We just want to get your take on it. So anyway, keep going.
Another thing I also noticed, unfortunately, too, with the situation with Nick Cannon is that, unfortunately, I totally agree with Nick Cannon's comeback. Did you read his apology statement or hear his apology statement? Mm-hmm. Yes, and so I do agree with him as well that if you know him, I don't know him personally, but from what I have noticed of him of the years, I honestly would not feel like Nick Cannon he's one of those people to me that I feel like wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight. However the slogan says. So I really don't see him. His apology, like if you know him, I don't feel like his heart was in that place basically for him to be called a racist.
We have people that are running this country that have said worse things. I mean, so exactly. I just don't feel like it's worth the energy that people have given it. However, I'm not going to remove other people's feelings that may be against what he said again. But what I will say is that we have people that are running this country that have said and done far worse.
Sure have.
If we're gonna balance the scale, let's be realistic. And I think that's something hard for a lot of people to do, because we get caught up in our emotions when we talk about these type of topics. And being that conversation was coming from an actual Black person who's actually had to endure the level of isms that this country brings forth towards brown and colored people, I think he stood in his right to say how he felt. If this is not a country for the free, and if we don't have the right to exercise our amendment to freedom of speech, then what do we have? If we're getting fired for saying how we feel, then there's really no freedom to it, is there?
No, but I mean, at the same time, like I say, but see what you just said is a valid argument that people like Rush Limbaugh and so many of them could argue with you, who would agree with you on that key point right there. That if you can't say what you want to say, then that's where my other truth was too. Okay, Mr. Gerard said he spoke the truth. Unfortunately, it's a narrative that the majority doesn't want to accept. Whitewashing of religion is still a problem. Yeah. Yep. Majority race, and unfortunately they're ruling. And they're not really majority. They are becoming more and more extinct. Facts.
Now get mad at Sistas Talk for that. Go pull it up. It's statistics.
Yeah.
It's stats.
Yep.
And it's not. People have to understand that when Black people tell their truth, and I am speaking for my entire race right now, so quote me. When we speak from a place of hurt or a place of experience, it's never from an intentional place of malice. And I think people get confused. If I am telling you that you offended me and you made me feel like an outcast because I'm the only Black person in this room, you can't flip it on me and say that I'm racist for saying that I'm a Black person. I stated nothing but facts. And in addition to me stating those facts, I also told you how you made me feel. Now, if you're not emotionally intelligent enough to receive that information without being offended, that's not my problem. You know what I'm saying? The response to a comment like that should be, oh, I apologize, Danielle. I never knew I made you feel that way. And I'll work towards not ever making you feel that way again. That is the proper conversation that we should be having. You know, not Black Lives Matters and then you respond, all lives matter. That's implied already. When I say Black Lives Matter, say, you know what? I'm taking time to get there. I think I'm starting to see where you're coming from with this, but I still believe all lives matter. Give me some meat to why you're saying what you're saying. Don't just say it as a irritating response to me because you don't agree with what I'm saying. We need to have some level of conversational maturity now.
Yes,
right?
Totally agree. Yeah. So it's an unfortunate deal. I hated to hear and see me go down like that, but it's the unfortunateness society that we live in. It's really unfortunate.
We live in a very, if I can say this without anybody getting offended, we live in a very divided society still. Even though a lot of us are learning to understand each other, there's still a lot of gaps that need to be filled. And it needs to be filled with love, needs to be filled with understanding and patience. You need all three, because there's no way that you're ever going to see each other eye to eye if one person's coming with you towards hate, sarcasm, just upbringing. It's almost like it makes you feel like it'll never happen, but we know it can.
Oh yeah. And I mean, just we still have far to go, but I mean, we can't discredit how far we have come.
Facts.
We have come very far. The mere fact that we have the opportunity to be here right now, doing this show, that's just showing you. Yes, we have made some great strides. But unfortunately, yes, we still have further to go. But I don't like to hear when people discredit how far we have already come, though.
That's also true. I agree with that. But it also makes me very sad to hear you say that, even though it's true. Why is it that we've come so far because we're doing a show? Why couldn't that just be a natural occurrence anyway? Why did it have to be so much death, so much raping, so much stealing, so much evil that happened in order for us to now say in present day that, well, we've come so far. We're on the business now, girl. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, why doesn't every human from the beginning have the right, the natural right? Keyword, natural right.
I totally agree.
No other human should have leverage over another human's life. You're not God.
Totally agree. It's unfortunate.
You're not God. And I think that's what a lot of us have, this God complex, I'm noticing. And we need to humble ourselves, because look, coronavirus, killer hornets, like we always discuss on this show, all these different plagues that are happening, locusts running crazy in Africa, all this stuff is happening at the same time. Pedophilia is being exposed day by day. If you guys are paying attention, I mean, we need to humble ourselves. Nobody has authority over the next person. You may think you do. You may think that you do, but you don't.
Exactly. God always reminds us that he is the one in authority and sitting high and mighty on the throne. And unfortunately, you have a lot of people, though, and I do believe that that's just unfortunate, but this is just, whether we like it or not, that's the way it goes, that unfortunately we have to suffer. Those who do believe in God, who trust in God, who's fully aware of him, who even have relationships with him, sometimes we suffer because they're because of others who don't want to believe, who have, like you just stated, the God complex. They don't even want to hear anything about God, or they only want you to talk about God in certain instances, in certain situations, on certain platforms.
See that control that I'm talking about? It's all control. But we have to release the control. We are self-destructive. Like, look at what's happening to all of us. It's on a global scale. It's not just this country. It's on a global scale. People need to be able to accept truth. I don't know how many times. I mean, everywhere I turn, it's an issue with somebody being honest. If you're honest, you're too crass. If you're honest, you're too direct. Truth is truth, people. No, I don't care how you want to flip it up and spread it out. It's still it's the facts.
Oh yeah, that is so true. Like, if you're an honest person, unfortunately, you can be classified as a very direct person, or because I'm myself one of those people that I'm learning more. I've been told I'm very matter of fact. What is that? Matter of fact.
And especially for women, we're definitely raised to believe that, be polite, don't talk too much, know when to close your mouth. And while all that is true, there's a time and place for everything.
And don't forget, smile. Always smile. Yeah. If you're a woman, you're always supposed to be smiling. In every situation, no matter what you're doing or going through, you are always supposed to wear a smile.
And you're right about that part too. And it's horrible because when you stand your ground, and when can you stand your ground, especially as a Black woman and not be called the angry Black woman.
Oh,
you see where I'm going with that?
Oh, yeah.
So, it's just, oh gosh, the conditioning of everybody's mind is so warped and effed up that people can't, number one, they can't accept truth anymore. Okay. Or they can't accept hearing somebody else's beliefs. We've been raised and living around other people's beliefs all our lives. Nobody ever got fired. Nobody ever got, a few people got called out. Yes. But people have actually displayed acts of terror and violence and nothing. Which brings me on to the next topic. The 87 protesters that were jailed for being on the Kentucky's Attorney General's lawn. Those people, all 87 of them were arrested. And 1 out of 3 of those people who were arrested were charged with felony charges. I just found out yesterday, all charges were dropped. Thank God.
I mean, yes, thank God. But I kind of figured it, though. I kind of figured it, especially when you have so many high, even including you have too many high profile people even who were arrested with them. Yes. So who can afford?
They had Yandy there, Portia Williams.
Yeah.
From Atlanta. What is it called? Atlanta Housewives. I should know. I used to watch it.
Housewives of Atlanta. And then one of our Texan football players, he was arrested. It was quite a bit of high profile people there, and kudos to them for being in the fight. For not, bagging down because of the fact that you are high profile. So I love it.
Yandy has been in the fight for a while. She has been doing extra projects on the side.